Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana and Everything, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another match review for what was another victory in La Liga for FC Barcelona, this time at the Sanchez-Pizjuan, and the match ended 4-1 in favor of FC Barcelona. Goals from Lewandowski, Fermin, Lopez, Raphinha and late goal by Eric securing the 3 points for Barca, which means that we now have an actual title race once again, and it's a three-way title race, isn't it? Barcelona now just 2 points behind Real Madrid and only 1 point behind Atletico de Madrid. They unfortunately remain in third place though, still not enough to crack those top 2 places for Barca. And well, it was a pretty so-and-so performance, I would say. The first half was tricky for Barcelona. I think the setup wasn't quite right. If you ask me, I mean, sure, Gavi probably still not yet back completely. He did have that knock last weekend, and I guess, you can't really keep him out of the team that long. But so I guess, Hansi Flick deciding to give him a run here. But this was always going to be a match that would favor a midfielder who makes runs in behind, the guy who makes runs beyond the striker and in behind the opposition's defense. And that's exactly how it went, because, man, it was a crazy match, to be honest. And nothing typifies it more than Fermin Lopez, because he came in off the bench in the second half as a substitute for Gavi, and he basically took over the match, with help from Pedri. Yeah, he basically flipped the match, changed it in Barcelona's favor. And during the only, 15 minutes that he was on the pitch, Barcelona scored 2 goals. First Fermin himself getting on the score sheet after yet another lovely assist by Pedri. And then, of course, Raphinha with what was a wonderful solo effort, right-footed shot. Just, you can't stop this man scoring this season. And once again, if Barcelona are in need in a big moment, he is there for them. He got the goal. But then, just a few minutes after that Raphinha goal, Fermin Lopez with just what was an absolutely crazy tackle on the Sevilla midfielder, which led to a red card. And honestly speaking, I feel like, in as much as, yes, it was Fermin who made the challenge, and he did deserve to be sent off for making that challenge, this was very much on the referee, because there were quite a few, ugly challenges that we saw in this game, especially from some of the Sevilla players. There was a lot of late stomps on Barca's players, and the ref wasn't really doing much about it. And every time that happens in a match, you can guarantee somebody is going to go a little bit over the top, a little bit too far. And in this occasion, Fermin was one of those players. He wasn't the only one, though. I felt like there was a wild tackle that Isak, the Sevilla striker, made on Pedri during the first half, and he only got like a yellow card for it. Really, that should have been a red card. And I think you could hear my dog in the background just completely agreeing with me. That should have been a red card as well, if you ask me, because if his foot was just, even 1 inch longer, he definitely catches Pedri in a very dangerous place. And that's probably the end of Pedri's season, not just the match, if I'm being honest, because it was a wild lunge, and I don't know how he got away without a red card. But like I said, the ref lost control of the match. He was allowing a bit too much physicality, and, well, eventually, like I said, it reached a head with Fermin Lopez's red card. But after that red card, though, you'd have thought Barcelona would suffer, kind of like we saw them suffer away at Ceuta with the red card when, Casado got sent off. This time around, that was not the case. Barcelona somehow managed to control the opposition. I think it also had a lot to do with how Sevilla were more set up to play on the break rather than to play on the front foot. So, when they found themselves with the ball for majority of 30 minutes that remained, they didn't really know how to go about attacking Barca, because they really just set up to counter, which is why I think the most they could do was just try and attack Balde with Luque Bacchio. And they did that, I guess, to varying degrees of success. I would say maybe 50-50 it was, because while Balde was only dribbled past once in that entire match, he did lose quite a few ground duels to Luke Bacchio, and I've forgotten the name of the right back who was playing for Sevilla. But yeah, it was Pedrosa initially, so I don't know if it was still him at the end. No, wait, Pedrosa is the left back. I've forgotten the name of the right back, but him. Okay, anywho, this isn't going to be a typical match review. It's going to be more of a match reaction, just because I don't really have enough time on my hands. I know, I apologize, but the kickoff time is just, it's too late with some of these matches, and I can't really do much. I still have a day job, I still have to put food on the table. It's what it is. But what I can say though is, once again, we saw another stellar performance here from Pedri, deservedly the man of the match from La Liga, and also I think from anybody who had eyes and who watched this match, he was definitely my man of the match as well. And if I could, I guess I will, I'll give the team rating as well and the manager rating. For the team rating this time around, I went, I would say with an 8 out of 10, just because of how well everybody worked together after the red card to just, not concede. Sevilla didn't really have that many openings once Barca went down to 10, and they probably had their better chances whilst Barca still had 11 on the pitch, which, like I said earlier, that probably just points more to the fact that they had been set up to counter-attack rather than play on the front foot. But otherwise, Garcia Pimienta once again suffers defeat against Barca, and this time around you probably feel like he got closer to unlocking Flick's Barca, which I guess I would agree going by that first half performance. But then again, there were some issues with the selection which didn't make Barcelona match up too well against what Sevilla were trying to do in this game. And well, I'll be honest, the pairing of Inigo and Araujo, it doesn't really work for me. We saw it a couple of times last season under Xavi, and they made a lot of calamitous errors. And this time around as well, this season, I don't think much has changed. They just don't seem to work well together, or at least to communicate. You need to play either of them with Kubarsi, in my opinion, if you want a solid defensive performance, which is exactly what it was once Kubarsi came on. Barca didn't concede after that. So, it could have been Kubarsi coming on for Inigo, or, like it did for Araujo. I think the end result would still be the same. Of course, now we need to worry again about Araujo. He is an injury-prone player, and, some of those wild tackles I was mentioning earlier, there was one put in on Araujo by Saul Niguez, and we wait to see what the verdict is going to be for, the injury that he suffered. But I think the fact that he still played on for a bit after the tackle, for me, points it to it being more of, I think, a severe sprain or something of the legs. So maybe he's out for the rest of February, but he could be back sometime around March, maybe by the time that Barca's Champions League responsibilities resume. But aside from that, I think very, very good performance. This was basically the perfect weekend for Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atleti both dropping points, and Barcelona being able to capitalize. For the second straight week in a row, Barcelona capitalized on Real Madrid dropping points. That's a big deal. I'm happy to see that. But, we do have Rayo coming up next weekend. And, Rayo is one of our bogey teams. And so in as much as we have this whole 8 days to rest and recuperate and plan, sometimes I'd rather the team just, keeps playing every 3 or 4 days, just so they don't lose their rhythm and so they don't get too relaxed. Because Rayo is the type of opponent you do not want to go into a match while you're feeling too relaxed or while you're not at your sharpest. So hopefully the team can recover, can maintain its sharpness, at least the sharpness we've seen from them in the past 7 days, with the matches against Alaves, against Valencia, and here, of course, as well, against Sevilla. Anywho, you let me know your thoughts, though, in the comments, what you thought about this performance by Barcelona. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with it. Looking forward to what comes next. Hopefully, Barca can just maintain this run of form that they have found themselves in. But aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day, and Forza Barca.